All right, so I sort of hinted in the last video I did last week at the Franklin Canyon Car Show that I'm picking up another project. So I'm out here in Agua Dulce, California, which is out in the desert. So fun for me. It's 97 degrees right now. I got here early to pick up this cool 1964 Ford Ranchero that I found. It was a screaming deal, so I couldn't pass it up. I actually already took the wheels off, put some rollers on it. These are actually the wheels and tires that were originally on my Cougar. This one had slot mags, and 3 of them had wheel locks, and the key was missing. So I've been out here for probably about 2.5 hours, just getting this thing ready to get up on the trailer. Maybe like 2 hours. And I've taken a couple breaks, and I've looked at some of the guy's other stuff that he's selling. But I'm going to go ahead and show you this car right now. And this, like I said, this is either going to be our new project car. We'll see where it goes. So the story on this car is the gentleman that owns it, he actually bought it in 1977 from the original owner, who I guess was a family friend. This one's interesting because it's actually got a factory 260 V8. Most of these were 6-cylinder, and it's also got an automatic transmission. So I've already taken the slot mags off and put regular wheels on it. These, like I said, these were off my Cougar. Just going to show you this Ranchero. These were the slot mags that were on it. If you ever buy a car with wheel locks and it's missing, they are a pain in the ass to get off. And the wheel lock removal kits from Amazon do not work. I actually had to use a larger impact socket, hammer it on, and then get it off that way, and then go back in. Thank God this guy has a shop. Used his vise to get the lug nut out of it. Came back out, and fortunately it was 3 of them. I didn't have to do 4. I had to do 3 because one of them didn't have the lock. So I'm going to show you the back. You'll probably be seeing more of the back once I get out of the spot where it's been sitting, I'm guessing since the 1980s. I don't know if you can see the license plate. Has a "things go better with wine." I can't even make out that. It looks like a 1980s sticker. This one's got blue plates. Now you'd probably say, well, Mike shouldn't have black plates from the 1960s. A lot of these, they had car plates. And sometime in the 1970s, DMV figured out they could register these as commercial vehicles in California, and they made everybody get blue commercial plates. Because actually, the other 2 Rancheros I owned were also California vehicles that was the case. So I'm going to have to find another Ranchero badge because this one just says Ranch. Windshield's in good shape. Body's actually really straight on this one. It actually does have some rust. Let me get you inside the cab in here. Seat is disintegrated, but it is there. So it had an aftermarket stereo at one time. The door panels aren't in the best shape. This has rubber floor mats. Now, if you've ever dealt with a vehicle with rubber floor mats, they trap the water, and that's what happens. So they do make floor pans for these, fortunately. It remains to be seen what I'm going to do with it. Still has, looks like the original AM radio in the dash, but I'm guessing it had a under dash radio in it at one time. This one's an automatic transmission, and it's got a little bit of storage in the back there. Headliner's completely toast. This thing had a little bit of rodents going in there, so this is going to be another vacuum job similar to the 1940. A lot of times when you find cars, that thing actually shuts really nice. Hey, little cleats like for tying stuff down. These are kind of neat. They just pull out. I'm sure he drilled into the body for it though. But it's great if you're like hauling motorcycles or something, which might be what I'm doing with this if I decide to keep it. Excuse me, I'm a lot of breath because I've been out here literally working, trying to get these wheels on this car. All right, so we opened it up here, and as you can see, it's the Windsor block. This is a small 260 V8, but it's the same Windsor engine family as like a 302, 351, 289, that sort of thing. Very original looking, original air cleaner, everything else. We'll see. I couldn't get it to turn by hand with the fan, but the guy swears it was running when it was parked. So of course we've heard that before. So I'm going to put some Marvel Mystery Oil down the cylinders when I get it home, and we're going to let it sit for a few days and see if we can get this unstuck. This one's neat because it's actually a power steering. It's actually pretty well optioned for a Ranchero because most Rancheros were 6-cylinder, 3 on the tree, and this one's a V8 automatic. So definitely an interesting project. This is the only real damage on the outside. It's right here on the body. As you can see, I think the door was pushed open a little too far, damaged the fender. So other than that, it's pretty straight, mostly rust free. A little bit down there, nothing terrible. California car out here in the desert. I'll show you. Can't see the mileage. This one is a 2-speed automatic, so I guess it's a Ford-O-Matic. I believe this one actually has the key too, which is nice because a lot of times you got missing keys and you have to get a locksmith or get another lock set for it. I believe this side's actually pretty solid. I'm gonna get under it at some point. Fortunately, I didn't leave the parking brake on, so it should roll. The front brakes I spun and they were spinning pretty good. Got the Ranchero back to the house yesterday. Started working on it today. I put a breaker bar on the crank. It is not turning. I'm going to have to pop the plugs out and put marble mistral down in there. I just thought I'd see if a light touch would actually get it to spin before I go and pull all the plugs and do all that. I filled it up with water just to see if there was a leak. You know, if that's why the water wasn't at the top of the level, because looked like it was parked with water in it. And I did fill it, and there was a bracket here for the generator, and I took it off, and I noticed it is leaking. Let me add some water to the radiator, and you'll see it. Adding water, and you'll see it here in a minute. It is coming out the freeze plug that's in the head. So I'm guessing that happened. What might have happened was a lot of times cars, especially here in Southern California, especially ones that are out in the desert, ones that run a little hot maybe, what people will do is they will put straight water in the cooling system. This happens a lot in California and drier climates. And of course they leave it in there, and then the car gets parked in winter or whatever, and it gets cold, it gets to freezing temperatures. Stuff like this can happen. I actually had a 64 country sedan Galaxy wagon many years ago that was out in Palmdale, which actually wasn't that far from where this was. And it's a similar story, and that actually cracked the block, if you can believe that. Hoping this block isn't cracked, and I'm hoping I can get this engine unstuck after leaving some oil down in the cylinders. We'll have to see. But pretty much, if this motor is junk, I really don't have money to do this car. I need to focus on the 40, so I'm going to have to roll it the way it is. But we'll see. I'm going to see what we can do. We're going to let some oil soak down in the cylinders and see what we get. All right, so I put marble mistral down the cylinders back on Tuesday. It's Friday now. So we're going to see. I got all the spark plugs out. We're going to see if this thing will turn over. Let's have a look. Oh, we got turnage. Okay, we got a turning over engine. So looks like we got this thing unstuck. I'm going to play around with it, and hopefully we have compression, and then we can kind of go from there and get this thing to maybe even light off. Who knows if this thing will even run and drive. Okay, so I cleaned up somewhat under here. It's still very dirty. There's like caked on like rat poop everywhere. But I put a battery in here. This is actually out of my Cougar, which is sitting right there. So that was pretty handy. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna check for some spark here. I haven't even cleaned the points or anything, but we'll see what it does. Okay, it is sparking pretty damn good. And actually, I didn't even touch the points. So now we got spark. We know it got spark. We know the starter cranks. I don't have any plugs in it right now, as I was trying to get the rest of the mystery oil out of there. Now I could put plugs in there and we can hook everything up. I actually have a new cap, rotor, as well as plug wires and plugs that I picked up this morning. And we can move on to that, and then maybe we can get this thing to fire. Fortunately, the carburetor is completely, it's frozen. It's going to need a rebuild. So we'll see what we can do there. Maybe we can get some fuel down there and just see if it'll pop. All right, and we're going to move on to that. All right, I got the carburetor off the Ranchero here, the old 2-barrel Motocraft here. And this is kind of neat. It actually has a date code on the bottom when it was cast, 11/1/63. So it's a late 63 carburetor. Sorry, it's 1/11/63. But it's very possible that's the original carb from this car. And of course, it's probably been rebuilt over the years. The previous owner of this actually said at one point the engine was rebuilt on this car. And it most likely was. I still haven't figured out what the mileage is because the odometer is so clouded up on it. So what I did yesterday is I put new cap, rotor, wires, and plugs on it. The motor's turning, which I already showed you. That was actually shot yesterday. And I'm gonna have to get a new freeze plug for it. And unfortunately, the ignition switch seems to be stuck on because when it's in the off position, it actually has spark. So I went ahead and disconnected that, and I'm just going to run a jumper wire to the battery from the coil to get this to start. And we'll see exactly what this does when I give it a little bit of spray of gasoline. And if it sounds pretty good, I'll go ahead and get the carburetor rebuilt because it's going to have to be professionally done since it's frozen up so solid. All right, here we go. Okay, that sounded like it wanted to start. So let's go ahead and spritz it. Nothing. Plenty of spark there. So I know I'm getting spark. What I am going to do is I'm going to get a points file. So let's go do that. Okay, so I filed the points just now. We're going to see if it has more spark. It definitely has more spark. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and unplug that. I'm going to put the cap and rotor cap back on the rotor, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if I would like to see it at least bark off. I've seen them where they just want the carburetor, and I've seen them where you can just put fuel down in them and they'll fire. So everything seems to be hooked up properly. It should at least fire. I mean, something's gonna fire here. Come on, you know, really. All right, let's go ahead and hook it back up. I'll give it a spritz with some fuel, and we'll see what we got. Oh, it has an exhaust leak. All right, so we know it wants to fire. Actually, it smells like a fire because I think there's just still a lot of leaves and stuff from the desert down in there. As you see, there's smoke. It looks like Spicoli's van in Fast Times here. But it did fire for a second, so let's give it a little bit more. I don't want to go crazy on it. Yeah, it definitely wants to start, but it also definitely has an exhaust leak. So, because the exhaust it's coming out right there. Okay, I don't want to start this. All right, pretty much wants to start. It's not doing anything else. It's definitely trying to start. So, oh, I see something on fire down there. All right, so we had a little bit of excitement. I actually thought I cleaned up enough in here, but apparently I hadn't. That actually, something caught on fire down there, and I'm going to show you what it is in a minute here. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you get squeamish, if you see like dead critters, you might want to stop this video right now. If you like dead critters, keep watching. I'm going to warn you. But I did put the fire out with, unfortunately, the garden hose is like right over here. So I was able to just hose it, and it was fine. It wasn't even like a real fire or anything, and there was no gas over in that area. Originally, I thought maybe it might have been the dry brush, but you're not gonna believe this. There was like a dead animal of some sort. I don't know if this is a rat. It's a squirrel or a possum. No, what is this thing? It's probably like a squirrel or a gopher or something like that. But that is what caught on fire. Pretty disgusting. Sorry if you get squeamish. I did warn you about that. So the weird stuff you find. One time I found a dead cat skeleton in a car, and but it was way more. It was just a skeleton. It was just the bones. It wasn't like that would still have flesh on it and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to dispose of that properly. But I've already gone through here. I started hosing. I plugged up the hole for the carburetor, and I'm cleaning up more of the stuff that's in here. Apparently, there's like an exhaust leak right next to whatever the hell that animal was sitting, and that's what caught that sucker caught on fire. So we're already barbecuing. Here in the Ranchero. So this is a great barbecue car, I guess. And that's going to end this week's excitement with the 1964 Ranchero. I'm going to get the carburetor done. I'm going to try to clean more stuff out of there, see if there's any more dead critters hanging out somewhere underneath the car near any exhaust leaks or anything like that. So, well, leave a comment. I'm sure you'll have some comments on that one. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't. If you want to see more dead critters in old rusty cars, we'll probably be finding them over the years. We'll be doing more junkyard videos. I'm off to Radwood next week in NorCal with the Fox Body Mustang. Hopefully there's no actual foxes inside the Fox Body Mustang to catch on fire. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.